Hey there, I am Dee. Let's talk about Suzanne Collins's The Hunger Games. It takes place in a dystopian world where once every year the government holds some kind of lottery in which they select which kids they'd place inside an arena and force them to kill each other until there's only one left. Now some of you are probably wondering, why am I using footage from Battle Royale instead of the Hunger Games movie? Well, if you can recognize the footage to be from Battle Royale, you can pretty much answer your own question. If not, allow me to spell it out for you. It's the exact same story! Seriously, aside from some of the names and locations, the Hunger Games might as well be a translation of Battle Royale. But let's be fair. It is possible that Miss Collins came up with the Hunger Games story all by herself, completely unaware of Battle Royale. And even if it wasn't the case, so what? Push rips off Heroes, which in turn rips off X-Men, Friday the 13th rips off Halloween, Doomsday rips off Escape from New York, and The Lion King rips off Hamlet. Bottom line, just because it's a rip-off, it doesn't make it inherently bad. So let's forget Battle Royale for a moment, and let the Hunger Games' own merits speak for itself. When I wake up... And there's the first problem with this. It's told in a first-person perspective. How is that bad? Well, stick around and you'll find out. Most of the peacekeepers turn a blind eye to the few of us who hunt.
Peacekeeper?
I suppose you can't really claim copyrights on that name, can you? Sitting at Prim's knees is the world's ugliest cat. Mashed in nose, half of one ear missing, eyes the color of rotting squash. I think he still remembers how I tried to drown him in a bucket when Prim brought him home. If you think this is bad, these are but a few of many hints that the characters live in a sort of third world country. He tells of the history of Panem, the country that rose up from out of the ashes that was once called North America. He lists the disasters, the drafts, the storms, the brutal war for what little sustenance remained. The result was Panem, a shining capital ringed by 13 districts. Then came the dark days, the uprising of the districts against the capital. The Treaty of Treason gave us the new laws to guarantee peace, and, as a yearly reminder that the dark days must never be repeated, it gave us the Hunger Games. So if I get this right, the government treated its people like animals, the animals rebelled, and as a result, the government now holds some kind of killing games, forcing these animals to play them. This would make sense if it took place in a distant past, but it's supposed to be the future. I mean, believe it or not, the government depends on its own people, so it won't do them any good to mistreat them like this. On the other hand, Panem is still trying to recover from its somewhat darker past, so okay, I shouldn't be too surprised if it were still this barbaric. He presses a button on the side of the table. The top splits and from below rises a second tabletop that holds our lunch. Am I reading this right? What must it be like, I wonder, to live in a world where food appears at the press of a button? If food were this easily accessible, then Panem is a better faring country than it was before. Ergo, the dark days won't repeat itself again, therefore there's no point to the Hunger Games. Is this thing even trying to make any sense? 60 seconds. That's how long we're required to stand on our metal circles before the sound of a gong releases us. Finally, the games are beginning. It's late afternoon when I hear the cannons. Each shot represents a dead tribute. 11 dead in all, 13 left to play. And this is why the book should not be told in first person. Because we're missing all the interesting bits. 11 have died, but we've witnessed the death of only one. Isn't this what you want to read this book for in the first place? For all the deaths? Yes, I know. The book is targeting a younger audience, so of course they have to tone down the violence a little. Well, if Collins is that concerned about the violence, then why bother writing the book at all? It's almost like this book was written by the same people who adapt Super Sentai into Power Rangers, where they want to make something more child-friendly, but end up being completely ridiculous instead. Others among you will argue that its message is more important than its entertainment value. Perhaps, except that the message would be much better conveyed if this were told through multiple perspectives. I pause a second, giving the cameras time to lock on me. Of course, it's a reality show, so naturally there are cameras. But here's a question, where are they?
Well, you know, it's all...
Seriously, this is about the only hint we get that there even are cameras in the arena. No characters pointing them out like, oh, there's a camera, here's a camera. Or even characters attacking cameras out of frustration or whatever. And for those of you who want to argue that attacking a camera in this world is dangerous, what's the worst that can happen? Disqualification? Seriously, even to reality show standards, this book doesn't make any sense. Handsome lad like you, there has to be some special gal, said Caesar. Peeta sighs. Well, there's this one girl, I've had a crush on her ever since I can remember. Ah yes, almost forgot the less than original love story in this book. Here's what you do. You win, you go home, she can't turn you down, eh? Winning won't help my case, says Peeta, because she came here with me. A love story that is destined to go wrong. There's been a rule change in the games. Under the new rule, both tributes from the same district will be declared winner if they are the last two alive. A rule I'm sure they won't change at the last second. The earlier revision has been revoked. What a shock. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. I've never seen these mutts, but they're not natural-born animals. They resemble huge wolves. But that wolf lands and then balances on its hind legs? The green eyes glowering are unlike any dog or wolf. They are unmistakably human. It's them! The others! All of the other tributes! I can accept that a well-faring country still needs to kill its own people. I can suspend enough disbelief to accept that they can and will alter animals to let them fight in these games. But bringing the dead back to life? They can bring the dead back to life, but instead of perfecting this, they waste all the resources on pointless games. And nobody, not even the people inside the capital, realize there's something wrong with their own government. Final verdict. If you want to read a book that is about the government forcing its own people to kill each other, read Battle Royale. But if you want something a little more lighthearted, to a point of completely ridiculous, then The Hunger Games is for you. This was D. I'm signing off.